Hello everybody and welcome to episode 79 of GuildGab. This is a show where we talk all about Guild Wars 2, and today we have a lot to talk about. Yesterday was the 2016 spring update, and it brought with it just so many changes, I really don't even know where to start. We're just gonna kind of jump into this. But first, let me introduce my wonderful co-host, MMOINKS, Alex of the RPG Shack, and Corvus Plays.
Hi. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh. Ooh.
Hello.
How we doing?
Tis a good day to be a Guild Wars 2 fan.
Had a couple of patch notes the other day.
Couple of patch notes. You know, not too many, but...
A small book, basically.
35
I was saying I was
pages.
going to print it out, bind it, and like sit in bed reading it before bed because it's just I still haven't read everything. Like people are just telling me, "Hey, did you see this has changed?" And I'm like, "Really? What?"
Like, no.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I actually spent last night hours in like the Heart of Thorns maps for like the first times, probably since Heart of Thorns released, to be quite honest. I mean, some of that was because I knew that changes were eventually going to come, so I kept putting it off and putting it off. But yeah, it felt really good. It felt really rewarding. I was able to complete a number of events solo. Didn't always have to have a large group there. And yeah, kind of crazy amazing.
Yeah, I think on the patch notes, one of the top things was that they wanted to kind of partly like reduce grind in Heart of Thorns, but also make it a more enjoyable solo experience as well. Because this was one of the big complaints that people had, that a lot of the content in Heart of Thorns was originally made for groups, and we've got the huge big meta events that do still exist, but you can just kind of wander around and complete events at your own pace now, and you still get the rewards from just doing like single events instead of having to hang around and wait for that participation reward that kind of comes up. Because like I never really got that. I never really got that whole system. It was great when you kind of get your chest at the end of the meta event completing it, but surely that should be the reward at the end of the meta, not for hanging around in the same map for a few hours. But yeah, I've kind of done exactly the same thing. I was like, oh, maybe I can go and do a little bit more map completion in Tangled Depths now. And yeah, I've found it a lot more enjoyable now that everything's kind of been given a bit of a shake around, and I actually managed to do my first Tangled Depths meta event the other day as well. So
very nice. Very nice.
I've now got the Mist Warden title, and the final bit of the Mist armor as well. But yeah, Heart of Thorns has become more enjoyable and more accessible overnight. And
yeah,
the whole game has. It's not just Heart of Thorns. Like that's what they really advertised, was changing Heart of Thorns and changing those meta events and increasing rewards. But the reward increase and the changes are really like game wide. I don't know if there's any part of the game that they didn't touch, like dungeon rewards.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I spoke to Nike a little bit, and he was like, "It's basically like Christmas."
Yeah.
Pretty much. Just a huge leap in the right direction. And I know, just about everywhere you looked, there were massive people on my friends list playing World vs. World all night long. Mighty Teapot, Brazil, and some of that group spent hours, like literal hours, playing with the new golems in that in the elite
Special Forces arena.
That
Special
training
Forces
area is just incredible. I checked it out on stream yesterday, and I was just like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" It was it's so good.
There's a great little thing you can do where you can put every single buff in the game on you, and then it gives you this warning: results may be unrealistic.
Unrealistic for you.
Yeah.
I always play this great.
So I was doing like 26k DPS with like Revenant auto attack on the sword. I was like, nah, this is fine. This is balanced.
Perfectly good.
But what's great is that I don't know if you guys if I don't know if you've been in it back since last time you were in, but one of the things I remember was that was a horrible sentence. Yeah. One of the things I was gonna say was that you can't go in there unless you put yourself in a squad. So what they've done is they've quite obviously built it around squad tactics. So the whole idea is for people to go in there and actually figure out your squad tactics for raids, which I kind of makes sense is why they've put it on the side of the raid lobby. But I think it could actually be a pretty decent tool, like to get your rotations and that kind of thing down without being excessively punished and having to, if you cock up when the boss is on 3% health, and then you have to do, everybody dies and they have to do the entire boss again. It's great tool, love it.
What's really great about this whole thing is ArenaNet also did, or a number of ArenaNet developers, as well as Mo, did an Ask Me Anything yesterday on Reddit, and they talked pretty great lengths about about this testing area and about changes that were coming to it. So yes, certain things might not be exactly perfect right now, but they're already aware and like they're going to be working on those things pretty actively. So it's just a great sign all around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you, Corvus? What have you been up to, mate?
It's kind of breathed like a big breath of fresh air into the game for me. I think overall my most favorite thing is the changes to the dungeon rewards. I think that's the best thing they could have done. And even like the new daily system, like I'm actually giving a crap about doing dailies again. Just even because it's just 2 gold, which isn't really anything, but it's a good proper incentive, for people who aren't just only caring about like achievement points or whatever, which I've never really bothered with that much. And I'm finding myself like I just want to play, and I've not felt that strong urge like I want to play the game in a wee while, just this drought and stuff, and I've not had much like in terms of goals or rewards that I want to go for or anything like that. So it's just opened everything back up, and I had it, even though the little raid lobby thing was just a tiny little room, it was just so cool to be able to go to a new place in the game, and just walk around a place I've never seen before. It's just, and I've not managed to check out the Heart of Thorns maps yet to see how the rewards have changed and how that is. So that's my plan for tonight, is to go around and have fun doing that and do what Alex did, do some more map completion and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just raised a lot of morale, I think, like all over the community. People are just
that's the other thing too. And I realize that there's going to be little pockets, little niche things here and there that people are not, maybe they're not perfectly happy with this, or maybe they want some changes here and there. But generally speaking, the community is on a really big high right now. You can see this on the forums. You can see it on Reddit, Twitter.
Can you say that? Can you say that again?
The community is on a high right now. I know.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
But even in the content creators that you might follow or watch videos of, a lot of them who might have been, self-included, who may have been down or perhaps overly critical these last few months. This patch did a lot to re-solidify, I think, faith, in ArenaNet, in the direction that they're taking the game, in a lot of the things that the people wanted to see done, and this is a great building block now for Living World Season 3, the next raid wing when that comes out, going forward, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Just everything. I mean, I've heard nothing but positive things. I mean, people find things to nitpick about, but just nothing but positive changes. I mean, people who love dungeons are happy. People who love fractals are happy. People who love PvP are happy. Fractals. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. And I haven't been able to get into the Heart of Thorns maps yet either to check it out. But Heart of Thorns dailies, like
Yeah, all of the dailies, the
all the
jumping puzzle
dailies,
dailies
and you
now,
get two
like
gold.
dungeons.
Two
gold for
gold
doing mini
for
dungeons
finishing your
again,
dailies,
like,
mini dungeons, jumping puzzles.
Yeah.
it's been so
it's so
long
good.
since we've got a patch to the game that's like genuinely improved like pretty much every
This
area
much,
of the game. And I mean, you could have asked me last week like how I was feeling about this big patch, and I just didn't care that much. It was gonna change numbers and make things less grind. Like, it wasn't like a content thing. But actually, what's happened is that it's kind of injected everything with this, like, I guess it's just made everything like feel more fun and rewarding.
Yeah.
Like, just knowing that like the things you're gonna do are gonna mean more in the long run. And like I don't care. Like I was pretty analytical and critical, I guess, of it, last week and before it hit. But since then, I've just kind of had this idea of I just want to play and have fun. I spent like 2 hours playing earlier today, just making characters to try and instant level 80. Just playing around, testing out stuff, and seeing what I could do. It was just, I think people are now getting back to the point of just enjoying the game instead of scrutinizing every little aspect of it. And I think what it needed was just this kind of, this little breath of fresh air that's improving things that needed to be improved for sure.
Yeah. To be honest,
to remind people.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. The reaction all around, considering like when we were talking about this last week, that we said we didn't think there was going to be a lot in terms of brand new content and how that might affect the community's reaction. There's been, to coin a phrase, very low salt content of everything that's kind of been said. So thankfully for me, there hasn't been that need to add new content back into the game when they've made current content viable again, or not viable, enjoyable again. So going into a map and say, hey, I've got 40 minutes to play, I could do with some airship parts. You just dive into Verdant Brink, off you pop. Or, I need to go and farm giant eyes or linen patches or whatever, and drop into that map, job done. And yeah, so
I mean,
go on, mate.
Just Resistance Fox in chat said that they don't really understand the high. Like, it's a good patch, but it doesn't change that much for me to actually do. And I agree, right? That's why I was so, I guess, not negative, but just kind of not super hyped for this patch, because it wasn't going to add content and new things for me to be able to do. But I don't know what it is. I can't really explain it. And this is obviously just a personal thing. If people think it's not that great or aren't that hyped about the game or whatever, I can understand. Because they haven't like added a new story thing or a new dungeon or whatever. But I think it's refreshed the stuff that's been in the game enough for it to kind of... You're able to jump in and kind of experience things, I guess, in a slightly different way now. Dungeons, for example, like... We thought they were going to be just dead now forever, like just a thing new players would experience when they get that little mail as they're leveling up. But it's actually like a viable thing. You can farm dungeons constantly now if you wanted. Every 8 paths or whatever, you get 5 gold.
Yeah. Right, here's the thing. I went back to... I did a full dungeon tour with some friends of mine. Maybe about a week before the patch hit. So our dungeon tour was all of AC, all of CM, TA up, and TA up and forward up. SC 1 and 3, COF 1 and 2, all of COE, and we didn't get time to do a RA. And yet in terms of gold, we probably came away with 10 to 12 gold for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But the amount of blues and greens that we got was off tap. It was ridiculous the amount of stuff we got. Now, you salvage all of that. That is a lot of linen, mithril, and leather there for you. Silk even. And to be honest, like kind of looking back, that's where most of the money was in dungeons, to be honest with you. And obviously there's the token farm where you buy the exotics and salvage them for ectos and that kind of thing. But there's like looking at what I'd actually salvaged at the end of that dungeon run. And the thing is, that was 16 paths anyway, so I would have got 10 gold off of that.
10 gold from the new achievement system.
And 300 extra tokens.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Really good.
And it's really opened that stuff up. Plus, I mean, there's a new legendary short bow, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But they've also finally added the fractal backpiece, so that's another legendary thing you can get now.
Yeah.
You know, I like I said earlier, I've not experienced the new, like, the Heart of Thorns maps or anything, so I don't know how revamped and rewarding they are, but potentially that's a whole new way to kind of experience that stuff, and it's going to be a lot more rewarding and fun for you to be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's just, and I think someone summed it up, like, everyone knew there wasn't going to be content in this patch, but no one really expected how polished and how many fixes and stuff and how much it was going to affect the game. And I think that's where the kind of hype has come from, is this. It was just a lot better than people expected.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing with this dungeon reward chest. Every time you do 8 paths, you get 150 tokens of your choice. So what do you say that you could do?
Which includes story, by the way.
Does it?
Yep. For all of you
for
all of you scrubs who can't play and want tokens, you can farm AC story for a week. And
For all you lazy people like me who just wanna
I think it would
take
get
the
boring.
easy street
But
to
yeah.
5 gold.
See, and potentially 150 fragments of Zaitan as well.
Any
Shards of
token
Zaitan.
I want.
So you
Any
can,
token
right? So you can farm
You could
AC.
do 8.
You could do cough over and over again and just work up, you know, your Ara collection.
It's
Again,
got to be unique dungeon paths though.
Unique,
So
yeah, so you could
so
do-
you can't do 8 cough path.
Right. So you do like AC,
4.
CM, and then cough. A couple patches, paths of cough.
Whatever.
You do AC,
Yeah.
CM. Well, the thing is, no, you could do AC and CM, and that'd be it. And you could do story mode as well.
Ah, there we go. It's glorious, and then just get your friggin' Ara tokens and pretend
your
you've done
Ara
all the paths.
tokens.
Oh yeah, I've done all the paths in Ara, dude.
I've done all the
No worries. Look at all my armor, obviously.
Well, because then the thing is, eventually you can get the Dungeoneer title that way, and you can wear it and go, "Yeah, I'm a Dungeoneer. I'm a Dungeoneer."
And you could have just done the first 2 dungeons.
Yeah, just done AC and CM over and over again.
That's amazing.
Which, to be fair, I was already doing that with the PvP reward track. So
Which you can now do in World vs. World if you want to as well.
Yes. Nice segue, dude.
yes.
Fantastic.
So
So there's a new set of
the-
armor in WoW World now as well because
Yeah,
of the
right.
rule.
Yes, there's a new World vs. World exclusive armor set. Fantastic.
yeah.
Some of that might
I
need to
didn't
be
even know
adjusted.
that. I didn't even know
Yeah.
that. That's amazing.
Some of that World vs. World stuff might need to be adjusted a little bit. I think there were some talks that, you know, the participation gain or whatever feels a little bit slow. But, you know, regardless of the number of crunching or whatever, seems to be a big positive for those players trying to, you know, it's another way for you to get dungeon tokens. It's another way to get, you know, that specific armor set. And, you know, more to be added later, I'm sure.
World versus World auto loot. Finally, why was that not part of auto loot at the beginning? I don't understand. So good. So good. I think that's one of the things that I know for me, like, they told us that there wasn't going to be new content, but I was not expecting this many changes. I was expecting maybe a fifth of what we got, if that. Like, they just changed. I mean, friggin' a number slider next to the buy button on merchants.
Yeah.
That blew
Yeah.
my mind. I was like,
Yes.
what? Like, and the funny thing is I first saw it when I was checking out the Black Lion weapons. So I was like, yes, I want to buy 36 Black Lion weapons. I'm like, wait a minute.
Sure.
Why is there a slider next to it? I'm like, oh, I bet it's on every merchant. And I ran to a merchant. I'm like, I gotta check. And I'm like, oh my God.
I want to buy 250 crude salvage kits.
Oh, it's just so good. So many little improvements throughout the entire
I think,
game.
and that entire
Reward-
line for World vs. World is only 35 points. And you need less than that if you just want to get the auto loot. So it's really not even that large of an investment for people who play World vs. World, or even if you want to jump in, you know, for a couple hours a day or something, or a couple hours here and there. It won't take you that long to get that auto loot. And for World vs. World, that's a pretty big quality of
handy.
life thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and also,
Yeah.
but or you could just cough farm it if you're a. Don't cough farm it.
They also added the cultural armor, I think, right? That
Yeah.
you can spend your badges of honor, and so it's reduced gold if you want to
Half
get
gold.
cultural armor. You can just chuck away all your badges of honor on that,
Nice.
which is just a nice little touch. It's I think it's good enough that they're, you know, like you were saying, because a lot more people are there now, you know, playing around again in WoW World, and it's good to just see this game mode that's been like long and forgotten, like slowly coming back to life. It's good.
Yeah, and I know we've been harping on here a bit about, you know, sure, there wasn't a ton of new content, a little bit of new content here and there, not a ton of brand new content, but it made the existing content way more enjoyable, at least in my opinion, to play. Fractals, you know, the changes to the instabilities. I can't wait to see what the Fractal team has in store for the other bosses. Like they have redone Cliffside, and that boss sees new mechanics as he increases in levels.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what other bosses and what other things they have in store for Fractals, like in that regard. And for those who do Fractals, you can now get not just the Ascended armor boxes, but you can also get Ascended materials from there as well. So Damask and the Elonian leather, etc., can drop directly.
I dived into Fractals yesterday once they went live, and like the whole experience is just so much better. I don't need to do Swamp 3 times a day. Cliffside's actually been made a little bit easier, with the exception of the end boss. So you don't have to fight the Arch Diviner at the beginning anymore.
Right.
The hammer does more damage, and it takes less hits to break most of the seals now.
Oh,
Nice.
Which is
that sounds good, to be honest, because
it's a long.
I mean, like,
just kind
fractal.
of everyone knows what to do there. It just takes a while, you know. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of
it
unnecessary.
just goes on and on a bit. But yeah, what they did with Fractals, that just pushing people away from, like Nocticon says, pushing them away from Swamp and Molten Duo as
big
well.
Time.
Just
Big time.
getting it's going to be really interesting when hardcore Fractal players start doing all the other Fractals again, and they're like rubbish at the Dredge one, and they're just like, guys, it's been 9 months since I did this. What do we do here? Although I actually do kind of want to talk about something not negative exactly, but it's more critical. That going back into Fractals and dungeons with the elite specs, power creep is ridiculous.
Oh.
You can seriously,
Yeah.
you can easy mode it. It's like we just blasted through content like it was going out of fashion. Just it's a bit of a problem. It's a bit of a problem. I mean, if it's going down the road where, yeah, it's old content, people wanted a bit more rewards for them, and we're just going to give them that, and then we're going to focus on new stuff. You know, fine, whatever. But up to about level 50 in Fractals, and pretty much all of the dungeons, I guess. Although I've not had a chance to do Aurora since I've not done Aurora since Heart of Thorns came out, actually. But yeah, it's just unstoppable. And me and the guys I play with, we're actually, you know, we like to think we're okay at the game. So we've got Guardian Tempest, me as a power support druid. It's ridiculous. It sucks that it's barely even a challenge in dungeons, but
What's
I guess
the solution?
I
Just
think-
buffing dungeons?
Yeah,
Well,
but
that-
the problem with that is that it's all scaled down content, you know,
Right.
apart
Yeah.
from, you know, the last couple of dungeons. So like, and for new players to come in and not have the advantage of an elite spec or ascended gear and all this
Right.
stuff, it'd be hard for them to really buff it or
yeah.
do it
I mean,
fairly.
I think this is something that certainly Wooden Potatoes has talked about before. I think we've all kind of mentioned it at some point in the past that we'd like to see some kind of hard mode for dungeons.
Yes.
Now that it looks like
That'd
they're
be
giving
awesome.
them a little bit of love again. Doing like a level 35 as part of your daily for explorable dungeons. Yeah, I mean, I know that they've made adjustments so that your gear scales as well.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It's not as effective, I think, as they
No,
want.
but the bonuses that you have, it still massively outweighs any kind of skill increase that they've added to them.
I mean, we saw in the raid lobby that little DPS kind of room instance thing. You know, a system like that where you could apply, you know, permanent conditions to you and your party or something like that, and then the rewards higher, and just little ways that they could add challenges, some kind of hard mode like gambit system or something to dungeons would be cool. I doubt we'll see any changes to dungeons ever.
No,
really.
at least not anytime soon. I don't think. I don't really think it's that big of a deal, though. I mean, dungeons are supposed to be the stepping stone into fractals, and fractals into raids. And sure, that's not exactly how it works. Like, doing fractals doesn't necessarily prepare you for raids, but you know, I don't know that dungeons necessarily. Like, if they're going to go back and do a hard mode, sure. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for that. I don't know that I want them to like just HP sponge up the bosses or something.
That'd be horrible if they did that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. It's I think it's probably fine the way it is currently.
I don't think that they'll devote resources to it with everything that they've got going on at the moment.
I don't think they should.
Raid Wing 3 and the new X-Back 2 that they're working on at the moment, and Living World 3 as well. So, yeah, it's a shame, but I think that dungeons are going to stay the way they are now, for better or for worse. And I think they're in a place where the majority of the community is happy with it, and if you fancy some free golden tokens, there you go, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think Noxicon made a great point in chat. The dungeons are lower level content. As much as we want them to be hardcore and everything, well, that's fractals. That's what fractals is supposed to be. And since it is the lower level content, if you are elite and you've got a great group and everything, you are just going to breeze through it. But that's your reward for being a better player. So, while it's still challenging for new players at those levels. So.
Yeah. Do you know what has made me a better player overnight?
What?
Ranger Sword Fix. Can we dedicate the rest of the show to talking about the Ranger Sword Fix? Because I love it. It's amazing. It's just great that you can move out of AoEs when they come your way. Like the uncategorized fractal on any level above 10 now, I can actually use sword on it. Because, you know, because otherwise you get stuck in place in the harpy and they send the knockback laser balls. It's so good. It's good, and I love it, and it's fantastic. And anyone who agrees with me is wrong and is a traitor to the glorious nation of Druid. I get the feeling Inks disagrees with me.
No, I don't disagree. I just, you know what, I honestly haven't really played my Ranger in quite a while. You know, I play Revenant mostly. You know, balance changes, QQ.
Yeah.
Not overly happy with some of the balance changes they made this time around. They always feel... So the balance changes always feel a little bit light as far as the last two balance changes that we've had, but last 2 quarters. Maybe that's a good thing, because that means they're not changing a ton of things. But, and I'm certainly no expert, but I feel like sometimes you should be using a scalpel and they just take a hammer and smashed it really hard and say, okay, fixed. Not true with every class, certainly. And I do like the direction that they're heading with some classes. But, you know, Necros, for example. I knew they were going to get hit, and I knew they were going to get nerfed. Yes. And I think it was probably a bit too much.
It was the chill that got pretty heavily smashed.
Well, for PvP, it's not just the chill. It's the stability change and a number of other things. And some classes got much stronger that were already strong. And Necros, which were fairly strong, got, like, almost gutted. And it just feels bad. I feel like I knew that the nerf was coming, I knew that they were going to get nerfed, and understandably so. Don't get me wrong. I do understand that, but yeah, probably should have just taken a little sliver, couple little slices off, and instead you just feels like you just smashed it with a hammer and said, "Okay, good. Now you're a nickel. Have fun."
I think it feels like when it comes to balance, Guild Wars 2 is in this place where like this class is really really strong, like OP for a few weeks or a month or whatever, and then they just smash it. And then some other class becomes like the new like OP, always use this thing. We saw with the PU Mesmer for ages, and then it kind of moves through, and it's just like, oh, it's like a trend. What class is everyone going to be running this season?
Right.
And I think you're right. They need to be. It feels like they need to be a bit more careful, bringing everything to like a really nice, like the same level of balance. And it's a shame, and that things just get hit. When they kind of become OP, and instead of just being brought back down to the same level,
the other
like
thing that
classes
really
just get crushed.
The other thing that really just eats at me and kind of irritates me a little bit is when I see them make a change, even if it's a good change, but when I see them make a change and they say, we did this because of World vs. World, we did this because of SPVP, we did this because of PvE. You make a change because of one game mode that affects all the other game modes because it was super OP or too strong or not what it was intended to be in a particular game mode, but then that trickles down into the other game modes and really affects it. And every time I see that, I just want more and more separation of those game modes. And I know that is, maybe that isn't the best solution. Certainly that is a lot more work to balance. Certainly that's, maybe that's not the best solution. But when I see, for example, like a Dragon Hunter skill was nerfed because of World vs. World, and rightly so in World vs. World, this doesn't necessarily make it a good thing for PvE, for example, where it was probably okay, at least in my mind. But so I don't know. It's just a bit of a shame when you see this was changed because of SPVP or this was changed because of World vs. World, and it's like I like those modes and I play those modes as well, but I just feel like I would really like to have some separation there. And I don't know that ArenaNet wants to go there.
They always said like they didn't want people to go into PvE and then PvP, and then all the skills that they were used to like suddenly are totally different and do different things or whatever. But it's not like the skills are going to do anything different. It's just maybe this is going to last a bit longer. The stun's going to last longer, or tweaks like that. And it happens in a ton of games. It's not like strange to see. And you're right. It means like there was a change to Dragon Hunter a while back because of PvP or something, and you were worried because it was like the only thing making it viable in raids, and they shouldn't have to. They end up making the balance worse because they're having to balance it between all these different situations and different contexts and uses and all this stuff. It's like you could just focus on making everything fair, if you were just looking at one game mode. But because you're having to juggle it with all these other game modes, it's making it harder. So the balance is worse, and it means certain areas of the game are getting people are getting a bad experience because their class isn't doing as well as it used to because of a game mode they might not even play, and it's a shame. I think splitting it is so necessary, and it's more work, and maybe it's confusing to new players or whatever, but it's like, it's worth it. It makes the game better and more balanced. Why wouldn't you do it?
And that's, I'm sorry, but that's BS about, oh, your skills will do something completely different.
Yeah,
PvE and PvP are completely different game modes. Yeah, everything feels different when you move to another game mode. Everything. Obviously, your skill bar is going to work a little differently, and even then, okay, so something might go on cooldown slightly faster or longer.
It's not like the skills have been completely rejigged. It's not.
Although,
didn't
that happen in Guild Wars 1? Weren't there certain skills that literally worked completely differently in PvE or PvP? There was a couple. But
in Guild Wars 1, though, they also had excessive duplication of skills across 3 campaigns.
Yeah.
So, but
Guild Wars 1 was a different game. Even the PvP in that, and it was a totally different style of gameplay. And I think in this, it's just, It's completely necessary. I can't believe it's not happened yet. Especially with the idea of PvP leagues and trying to get into this esports kind of mode. You can't have like an unfair, like strangely balanced game if you're trying to break into this esportsy kind of,
and
thing.
And the thing is, it kind of already exists in the way that you play the different game modes. That it's not that the skills are different, but that the application of the skills are completely different between PvE and PvP. That, I don't know. For example, in PvP, I might want to use my longbow to knock somebody off a capture point. But in PvE, I'd use it to reduce a break bar or just generally piss off the people that I'm in a party with.
Yes.
Because Ranger Longbow 4 is love and life.
Who uses the exact same skill bar in PvE and PvP anyway?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, even though you've got a very viable build for druids in PvP, you've also got a couple of viable builds for druid in PvE. It's two very different ways to play the same class. It's already built into the game. Mm-hmm. So I honestly don't see the problem.
Even just the way you set up your build in PvP, you're in like a drop-down menu. You choose an amulet. You choose it's just a totally different experience, and it just makes sense for it to be changed and suited for that particular game mode. Like you were saying, no one runs the same build. No one runs the same set of skills. Usually anyway, between both game modes, it just. I don't know.
Yeah, not if you're trying to be competitive.
Man. It just needs to happen. It just needs to happen.
And World vs. World is a whole different game mode in that sense too, right? The builds for World vs. World are generally different from the other two game modes as well. Yeah. So, I mean, really, it does come down to the amount of work, the amount of resources, and that sort of thing. And I do understand that, but I think at some point, I think a split needs to happen. Or at least I would really like to see it happen.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I don't particularly mind either way. But hey, there we go. Like I went to do my daily in PvP yesterday, and I forgot to change my build from the spotter or whatever it was the last time I took my ranger into PvP, and we did Forest of Nifl, and no, it was Legacy of the Foe Fire, one of the two anyway, and I didn't die, so it obviously means that I'm great, and that people just need to learn to play. Esports.
That's it, dude. What rank are you?
31. But I could teach those. I could teach those guys in the absurd a thing or two. I'll tell you that.
Speaking of, how are the changes to the PvP maps? Has anybody played on them?
Rest in peace, Skyhammer. Rest in peace, Skyhammer. Never forget Skyhammer.
Thank God.
It's just a friggin' wall simulator now. You can't even jump off.
Good.
Yeah.
You can fall off the Skyhammer, but you can't fall off.
What's great is that. What's great now is that the cannon isn't open at the beginning of the map either.
It's
so
periodic.
Just run straight up there, hit and jump off for the farm maps. It's like there's no. I kind of dived into a farm map to see what people would be doing with it the other night, and everyone was just running around and was like, how
do we do this?
They're terrified of the prospect that they'd actually have to PvP properly in a.
Changes to Spirit Watch as well.
What's really funny is sorry Corvus. What's really funny about Skyhammer is the people who farm the dailies, and I've definitely done it myself. But they go into Skyhammer and they're like, "All right, how do we evenly do this?" And the team who's supposed to win just says, "I don't give a shit. Smash them. Just kill the other team. Farm the hell out of them. I don't know how this is gonna work anymore. Who cares?" And the other team is just saying, "No, stop! I can't take it. You're hurting me. Can I get a kill, guys? No kills.
No.
Kill them. Slaughter them.
You want to kill someone in PvP? Learn to play."
That's basically how it goes. It's like, oh, we can't just tag and jump anymore. Slaughter them, all the skills. Throw everything on this guy. That's basically what it devolves into, and then eventually the the portal opens, and everybody runs through. It's like, okay, guys, now hang up and jump off. And then that door closes, and then confusion sets in again. What do we do? I don't know. Run around in circles and kill everybody.
That's not how you play PvP? Because that's what I do.
Oh my gosh!
I think you
Too
can
funny.
still farm. Oh God, what's the one?
Kylo.
Yeah, you can still farm Kylo, with the clock tower capture, but it takes so long. I think it actually takes longer than a normal PvP match to do. So you might as well just take
it's
PvP.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm glad, to be honest. I think farming was just like, people could get to rank 80 and have just never played an actual match of PvP in their life, which is like...
Is this
lot of
some kind of
dedicated
subtle
farming.
half confession, Corvus? Like,
No, I'm just saying it's possible, and I think that's crap. Like, I'm glad they fixed that. And also, I think the changes are gonna hopefully make it a bit more viable for these maps to appear, in ranked and like kind of... It's a shame that they have these maps that people just never touch, because people are only ever playing ranked when the leagues are up and stuff. So it's good because Spirit Watch was changed. The spawn times of the beasts in Forest were changed, which is great because people aren't going to kill them as soon as the match starts and stuff like that.
Oh, that's good. That's how you get an easy win.
Yeah,
No,
easy win, man.
Yeah, you just win the game as soon as you kill friggin' Chieftain. The first
No,
five,
that's how you know that's how you know you have an advantage over the other team when they run off and kill their guy right away. You're just like, ha ha, sucker.
Yeah, but if you're solo queuing like 9 games out of 10, your team's gonna run off and 4-man the friggin' beast, and you're stuck at mid on your own. It's good. I'm glad these changes have come in.
Little sad for Stronghold.
Yeah, the Lord mechanic. I forgot about that in Fire.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
It's
you got
more
to
like the Stronghold Lords now.
You got to stomp the Lord now as well. Which is what's happened to I've not gone into Stronghold since the
I don't think
change.
anyone has.
Aw.
You shut up. You shut up.
Inks has.
I love Stronghold.
I
damn
love
it.
Stronghold as well.
I wish Stronghold got more love than it gets. Unfortunately,
So do I. It's a really
Conquest
fun
is sadly the focus.
PvE.
PvP.
Yeah, so Stronghold has an interesting thing in now. I think it's after the first one. Every time you summon a Mist Champion, it gets like a 50% boost to its damage and such. And it's supposed to. The reason for this is it's supposed to. Right now, 2 things happen in Stronghold. Either one team wins in like 2 minutes, as fast as possible, to rush to the Lord because you don't defend. Or a lot of times it goes to stalemate. So these Mist Champions getting these buffs is supposed to sort of upset that balance and maybe not have games go to time anymore. Haven't got to play a ton of Stronghold, only like 2 or 3 matches, but pretty decent change, I think. But like Conquest, unfortunately, is kind of the focus right now.
I mean, you can't really esports Stronghold, can you? It's.
I think it'd be
I
fun
think
as
I
hell
could.
to watch Stronghold matches. I think it'd be so fun to watch it.
I think you could.
There's not
Don't get
even
me
really
wrong.
broadcasts of it.
I think Stronghold would need some love and attention. It would need some work and fine tuning to make it a little more competitive, a little more esports friendly. But I think potentially Stronghold hasn't even for the watcher. I think has the potential to be even better than Conquest in the sense that some big plays can really happen.
And big turnarounds. I think comebacks. Yeah, I mean,
You
people
don't
are
really
capable of it.
comebacks in Stronghold, do you?
Well, we've seen
while.
comebacks in Conquest, like obviously in WTS and stuff like that. But like on a general match-to-match basis, I think Stronghold has more potential for comebacks. To be honest,
I think
you can be behind for most of the game, but you hold out at the last gate or something, and then you can do like one big final rush. And like I think it would actually be more fun to watch like a good match with Stronghold than Conquest.
Yeah, it's just
But
not
it's
overly
just
popular with
not
the.
represent.
It needs work. It needs a lot more attention, resources, etc. that just aren't available right now, and it's not overly popular with the top PvP players in Guild Wars 2. Really,
I mean, has there ever been an official Stronghold like tournament like or anything streamed
I
like
think
officially.
so.
I don't
And
know.
isn't that strange that like they introduced this new game mode and it's just not showing off at all? Like I don't know. It'd be cool. Maybe they could just speak to some people who are in the world finals and just be like, hey, can you do a friggin' match for us? Just do a little tiny tournament. Win Stronghold, just be a laugh.
Yeah,
Yeah, bro. He says there was one at launch. He casted it.
I will continue to champion for Stronghold,
Yeah, I mean, I
was great.
regardless
them-
of its popularity. I don't care.
More of it.
And it's certainly not popular among PvPers who, as we all know, aren't good enough to beat computer-controlled enemies and have to rely on the mistakes of human beings to win. So,
Damn, Alex.
Wow.
bring it. What else has happened?
That
do
new
we-
looking for group system.
Yes, it's amazing.
So good. I've got my list.
Do you know, I dropped into Peachy's stream yesterday while you were showing off the looking for group tool, and you went down into the role playing section, and in capitals right at the top was erotic role play.
Oh
true.
my gosh.
It's the only
Oh
entry
my
in
gosh.
there. Erotic roleplay.
So if you want a little bit of
Wow.
ERP,
Well, that's always been there. There's a couple of ends in Divinity's Reach you don't want to go into.
Really?
You've made a wrong
Yeah.
You know
turn.
these spots,
Oh,
Corvus?
There's upstairs. I think Modromoth took me to a few of them before. So,
upstairs at the yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, I mean, we've met
Well,
there a few times.
did
but
you
don't tell
participate?
everyone, Alex.
When in Rome,
Gotta experience new things sometimes, Peachy.
It's
Yeah,
it's
I
true.
put
Judge
on
us.
That's true.
a hat and went for it.
What happens in Lion's Arch stays in Lion's Arch.
That's how me and Alex met, actually.
I was just an innocent. No. Anyway.
But yeah, it's really good. I'm so happy to see all the categories. I mean, open world drops down and there's like 8 or 9 different things, and you don't open it up and see all the instantly see all of the trash, that you
There's
see. You have to actually go
like
to
an
a
achievement
section.
thing as well. Like an achievement point section for those people
Achievements.
hunting them.
Yeah,
It's
they
cool.
I could see them. I was looking at all the categories and I could see them like in a meeting room, like with their big dry erase board, like writing out all the possible categories and then like cross it off. No, we don't need this one. We definitely need this one. Like deciding what all the categories are going to be. I was so happy. It's so good. Oh, long time coming for that.
I think I don't know everybody who worked on that, but I think Robert G was one of the people who worked on that. I think he had mentioned or something, and love all the category changes. Much easier. Like if I want to go do a dragon stand, it's easier to find that sort of thing. Breaking up the fractals and
Looking for more and looking for group, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or looking for.
Yep.
well,
Under raids.
and you can even join as a squad and stuff now.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's
Huge upgrade.
there is an achievement hunter section, isn't there?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so you can go hunting those achievements, and so yeah, there's plenty of stuff there. There's obviously there's the dungeon ones that's still there, and
Which
Like-
will actually be populated.
Woo! Yeah.
that's great.
Yes.
it's a lot more streamlined than I expected it to be. I thought it was just going to be raids, but
Yeah, that's what I was
It's-
expecting
it's
too.
looking
Like,
for-
okay, we added raids.
There's even little
fine.
icons next to each
Yeah.
place as well,
Yeah.
which is cool. Nice little touch.
yeah, it's looking for more and looking for group, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or looking for raid.
Yep.
Well,
under
and,
raids.
and you can even join as a squad and stuff now.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's
Huge upgrade.
yeah.
Good. It's
Mm.
good.
So do we want to talk about the legendary longbow?
Short bow.
Longbow.
Long,
It's-
short
it-
bow.
It's big enough to be a longbow.
Sure. Longbow.
Schlong, dude, schlong,
Longbow.
the schlongbow.
Oh, no. It started.
Oh my god.
Yes. The legendary
Ah, the-
longbow.
Schlongbow. And it shoots tigers, so there's got to be a pussy joke in there somewhere.
Oh, damn. There we are.
I'm sorry.
This is why we hired you, Alex.
The legendary Schlongbow.
The
shoots
legendary
Chumpa. What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Geez.
Good. It looked way better when I previewed it in game than in like that trailer, because the trailer didn't look like it had any of the effects. You couldn't really see like the girth of it, the thickness of it.
Well, the girth is one of the most important, you know.
Yeah, it's and also it's
very long though.
Yeah, but having said that, it's not the size of your schlongbow; it's how you use it. So
That's it.
yeah.
Oh my god. Toad's professional.
It now will forever be called the Schlongbow.
A schlongbow.
Has to be.
Girth of the
Nasty Nana. Oh my gosh. Totally derailed.
Oh my god. So yeah, it looks really good. I like it.
Yeah.
The effects of Chumpa and Chupawat are
Chupa and Cabra.
yeah. It's certainly impressed everyone that I've shown it to. I'll give it.
Just can't get away from it.
Let's just change topic now. I think we've said all we can say.
Does it actually shoot tigers? Oh, I haven't seen it. It does shoot tigers.
Yes.
Does it roar every time it is?
I thought I had the noise turned up. I had the sound turned up, and I thought I could hear a super low roar, but the bowstring is louder than whatever sound it's making. So I don't know that it's a roar or not. It makes some kind of sound when it shoots, but the bowstring is louder than whatever that noise is.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, and so there's fiery claw marks when you walk around, and like even like the draw mechanic is super cool. You're like, and there's like big kind of fiery claws or something.
Yeah, the two tigers jump in on you.
Yeah.
I need to see.
It does kind of look. It just kind of looks like an ascended longbow, though. Like the kind of the kind of basic shape of it.
It does.
I don't know.
Like that's what I thought initially when seeing it in the trailer. I was like, oh, it's a fancier ascended longbow. But when you really look at it in game, look at the details, look at the glowing effects, like it does stand out from it. I think it's very unique.
But I think just in passing, like if you were to see it, it doesn't stand out. I think as much as pretty much any of the other legendaries. It kind of does look more generic than pretty much all of the other ones.
I'll give you that.
The effects are okay. I mean, we saw, like it turning people, other legendaries, like the new legendaries, turning your arm like a color or getting feathers like a Nevermore. I don't know. It just kind of looks like a red glow on a. When you're shooting it and when you draw it and stuff, that's cool. But I think just when you're standing there with it, unless you're looking at it to see the details, I think it's just gonna be a bit. I don't know.
Does it have footfalls?
Yes. It does. They're
it's got claws. Yeah.
Those could last a little bit longer. So some critiques. I like the general effects of it. I like the fact that it shoots tigers and it's not too over embellished. I like the footfalls. I think the footfalls could last a half second longer, just a tiny bit longer. They go away kind of quickly. I wish it didn't look like a long bow and was a little bit shorter. And like Corvus was saying, you could easily confuse it, I think, for a phoenix, if not for the effects, a phoenix skin or a 90s tribal tattoo or, an ascended longbow, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So besides those little minor things, I think the effects for the short bow really kind of sell this one, if you're interested in that.
And I think Inks will quite like the journey for it because you get mini pets.
A mini pet.
But
you get a couple of things.
A mini pet? Yeah, isn't there like a backpack? I was looking at this.
You get a whole bunch of stuff that's really, really cool.
So you get the part of the, and right now I think there's sort of a bug with it, although ArenaNet's aware and working on it. But part of, I think, the step 3 or step 4 journey is going to all these tiger dens that are around Tyria. And when you complete all that, you get a little mini spirit tiger. He's transparent yellow or golden.
Yeah.
Very cute.
It
Very
looks
cool.
really cool.
And even if you don't go for the short bow, you can still do that achievement and get that mini pet. So that achievement is for all players. If you want to go do that and get that mini pet, doesn't matter whether you want to get the short bow. If you even have it unlocked, it doesn't matter. You can still do that achievement.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I think it's in step 3. I'm gonna get corrected probably, but there's a part where you get this little cub. It actually says you get 3 cubs. And apparently it's a book or something, and you can give to your other characters and whatever. And it looks like a little tiger cub is riding your back.
Oh, what?
And
Why didn't I get
this? Doesn't replace your
Nevermore.
backpack. Apparently, it doesn't go away. So
What?
I mean,
so while
it's
you
just like
have the bow out, you have this tiger on your back?
well, no, you can turn the tiger on and off apparently. So you don't like it doesn't have to be persistent. But at the same time, you don't have to have it go away.
That's
And
that's
that's
really
and that isn't as far as I understand, it's not a bug or anything. It's just like a perk of, like, for example, if you make kudzu, you actually unlock a special garden that you can go to for players who have that. I think there's another one.
Where's that?
Yeah.
You guys are lying to me. What? I've never heard of any of this.
Yeah.
So for kudzu, or however you say it, if you go to Mount Maelstrom, there is that jumping puzzle that you can only get to by entering the portals.
Right.
The monsters that spawn. Right.
Cool.
So at a certain part along the journey, you actually unlock this garden. And you can go there once a day and farm it. And there's like omnom berries and a bunch of things there that only those players can access who have done that part of the journey. Yeah, secret garden in the secret garden. Go figure.
Yeah.
So the short bow has this little cat that basically there's 3 different ones apparently. And they all look the same. They're just different colors or whatever. And it basically rides on your back. There's Reddit has like a screenshot of this thing. It's absolutely adorable.
Yeah,
it looks pretty
cute.
Man.
awesome. Yeah.
Why couldn't there be something like this for the journey for Nevermore, man? Like, I want to
There's all this extra stuff, man.
It's
Because
it's the
Corvus
last
wants a
one.
little
Rest
crow
in
on
peace,
his back.
Legendary.
Aw.
I think we were doing. I think this is something that we talked about the other week. That I can't remember if we talked about it on or off camera. That they want that the state of the final legendary journey that we're going to be having for the foreseeable future, whether or not that people are going to be annoyed that they've gone out on a high note, which I actually think they've done from the preliminary reports on this journey.
Generally speaking, yeah.
Yeah. So people are like, this was, it's a great one for for them to kind of stop on and reevaluate what's going on, and that's fine. But I think the flip side was that we also said, will people really care if they make a bit of a hash of it, and it's just another like material grind or whatever to get to the to get to the end for the precursor, which is what they haven't done. But at the moment, people are. The direction seems to be right. They've actually created a pretty good legendary journey for this bow. It's just a shame that it's a short bow, because
Longbow.
Schlongbow.
Now then, the schlongbow. I mean, it's a shame that there aren't that many people who are going to be getting their hands on it. If you,
Wow.
yeah.
I mean, to be honest, they could have just said this was the longbow, and I wouldn't have batted an eyelash at it. And would have said, okay, cool, new longbow, awesome. And more classes could have used it. But anyway.
Anyway, it's Ranger and Thief.
Yeah.
Something about
and
Death
all of the skills. I'm actually working on a video for that, but all the skills, shoot tigers, even Thief, Shortbow 5. That's ports you forward a bit. Shoots a tiger. Where the tiger lands is where you land. So they all shoot tigers.
Nice. Oh, speaking of skills, the new telegraphs for all of the
Yeah.
professions look fantastic. I love them. Now, I've only seen I was testing it out, of course, on Dragon Hunter, and I was playing with them. I was just like, oh, these look so good. They even Dragon Hunter Longbow 4 does fire damage, so it had like the little fire symbols on it, and it's really, really good. I was very impressed with the.
Yeah, they updated the combo fields as well, which look
Yes.
really nice.
Yes,
Once
they look
once you learn and realize which combo field is which, I think it's going to make identifying those a lot easier. But they look really good as well.
They're so much more easily identifiable. Like you said, you do have to learn which one is which now because they all changed, but they're so much more visible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really good.
love it, love it.
We talked a tiny bit, we mentioned it, but I think we have a lot more, we can go into a lot more detail with the level 80 boost.
Yes.
That's
Everyone who's angry can cry me a river. Like, come on. It's marketing 101, right? And like I have 9 characters. 9 characters is all I need. I know you guys out there have 22, 58. Inks has probably 3 at the moment. But
very, very variable. It's different every day.
Who knows?
But it's not everybody who gets it, right? So you only get it if you bought Heart of Thorns. Now, to play Heart of Thorns content, you need to be level 80. So if you bought Heart of Thorns straight off, as a new player to Guild Wars 2, you get this item, and people go, hey! You've bought Guild Wars 2. If you want to check out what we're currently digging, use this item here. You can check it out on all of the classes. We've got elite specializations notwithstanding. And you can get a feel for all of the core classes at level 80 before you make your final judgment. And then once you've decided what level 80 class you want, you get a whole ton of stuff to kit out your guy in exotics and what have you. And you can dive straight into Heart of Thorns content. Now, one of the big arguments that I've kind of seen against it is that people just go, oh, well, why can't they level up and learn how to play the class and all that kind of thing? It's like, let me introduce you to my bank tab full of tomes of knowledge. You know,
Right,
it's like,
yeah.
I didn't level my Revenant, I didn't level my Warrior, I didn't level my Necromancer, I didn't level my Engineer. It's like, tons of knowledge.
On the other hand, you're a veteran of the game and understand the basics of the game. For a brand new player buying Heart of Thorns for the very first time, I definitely can see some of the confusion and stuff. However, the trial period for testing each class before you make that decision final is unlimited.
Yeah,
Sure,
that is-
you're not going to
that's-
gain
yeah.
experience, but you can definitely play the class long enough, I think, to get the general gist, of how that class works. And then
That's
say,
true.
okay, let's try another class and see which one I actually like.
Yeah.
Um,
So do you think it's more aimed at kind of people who've been playing the game for a while but haven't necessarily explored all of the other classes, or do you think they maybe
Well-
tried to direct it to new players?
Even though I can understand the confusion for new players, they're suddenly ported into another area of the map. They're suddenly level 80 and have all this stuff rather than going through the process. And
That's true,
I
yeah.
absolutely do not. Someone who is new to the game, I do not suggest doing this. I suggest going through the leveling up process, learn the basics of the game, learn the game systems, learn your class. But it is aimed at new players still because it's that getting to the fun faster. And like you said, Heart of Thorns is level 80 content, so if you buy Heart of Thorns, then you want to get to that content right away if that's the content that you want to play. Now, again, for a brand new player, I don't suggest doing that, but it's your account, it's your experience, you can do whatever you want. But I just don't want that to ruin the experience for anyone, and I don't think it would. I think people are understanding that, hey, I'm being ported right to a max level zone. I'm max level. This is end game. If you don't, if you're doing that and you still don't know what a trait line is, well, that's your own fault because you haven't played any other class. But I think it's actually it's best for people who think that they might be interested in a class at endgame, but don't think it would be fun for them to level up. For me, like, that was Mesmer. Like, I did not have any fun leveling up my Mesmer, but I had way more fun once my Mesmer was max level. So, if there's a class that you just... People have... I got this question all day yesterday. I don't know what to use it on. And of course, this was coming from veteran players. People who have been playing the game for a while. They already have some characters, but maybe they don't have all the classes. I said, use it on a character that you think would be fun at max level for you. And you can test it out. That's the greatest thing. I can't believe that there's like absolutely. A trial run of a class. That's amazing.
And the thing that I don't understand, that I don't quite get about it, is in the good old World of Warcraft, if you get Wrath of the Lich King, I think it's Wrath of the Lich King with the Death Knight. Like, and this was the first thing I played. I had no idea what I was doing in Warcraft, but I thought, hey, I want to. Being a Death Knight sounds kind of cool. So I started at level 55. I had no idea what I was doing, and I was like running around clonking other level 55 bad guys, and generally having a bit of a giggle. And it throws a whole ton of stuff at you straight away. It throws like the class specializations, it throws skill trees, it throws dungeons, it throws raids, it throws all kinds of crap at you. And it just take a step back and read it. I honestly don't think it's that necessary. That kind of overwhelming to learn the basics of the game's mechanics at coming in at a higher level. But yeah, I don't know, that's just me. I can understand what people mean, and obviously you do miss out on the core game if you jump straight to level 80. So
I disagree with both of you.
Ooh.
I think it's a very, very bad idea to give this to new players. And considering they're not selling Heart of Thorn separately, and like if you want to buy Guild Wars, this is what you get, and you're thrown straight in. I think being given the option to skip the whole core game, that's terrible. Really bad.
But the whole core game is replayable. It's not like you're going to not go back and experience that.
They've always been saying that like the main adventure in Guild Wars is like the journey, right? And Obi, I think, said in chat that like anytime anyone asks like, how do I quickly level to? I'm a new player. I want to get to max level. How do I do it? Everyone's like, no, just take your time, enjoy, go explore and stuff like that. Like that should be. It doesn't make sense to give these people, an instant pass to max level. Like, and I can understand people. You can go through your levels scaled, and it doesn't make much of a difference, whatever. But the thing is, like, I don't know. Like if you're exploring the world, you're looking at vistas, you're finding points of interest, all this kind of stuff. You're getting XP for that, and that's like it's the main reason to drive you through these zones is to get XP.
So
and in doing so, it's making you see and learn about the world and do different events, experience different things. You get to max level, you're gonna do fractals, maybe whatever's considered end game, because you think that's what you're supposed to do, and all the zones are just there for leveling, like every other MMO. And I think that's a shame. Like you miss out on a lot of the story stuff, on like the event stuff, and yeah, you can do that, but it's like there's less of a drive to. I think this is a cool idea for people who are veterans of the game, 100%, and to test out different classes that they want to check out at level 80, all this stuff. Cool. I think there should be a reward you receive after getting one character to level 80. Like make people level at least once to level cap before you give them this. And they give you a shared inventory slot. It's basically a package designed for people with alts. Like make an alt with this instantly,
right.
And you have this cool inventory thing now too. Like it shouldn't be given to new players who literally they could literally buy the game and 10 minutes later they're at level cap and know nothing of the world and the story and how everything works. No, that's silly, man.
The problem is that if you hide in-game content behind reaching max level with another character, it becomes extremely unrewarding. SWTOR has tried this.
What do you mean? Hiding endgame content behind getting to max level? Every other game in the world, you have to get to max level to do endgame. That's what it means.
Okay, well,
it's not hiding anything.
Any other... So I've explained myself quite badly there, but in SWTOR, you have to max level a particular class or race before it then unlocks other options for you. And I
I don't think that's a good idea. I'm just getting a free instant level, a free pass to level 80 should only happen after you've done it once, like normally. I think that's my opinion. You can disagree.
No,
cool,
I totally
whatever.
agree with that. I
I
totally agree.
I just don't.
There's nothing
just
forcing
don't-
players
I
to
do
do
see your
this,
point.
and like I said, I would
I do see your
100% say, do not do this. If you're a new player, do not use that. And I agree. I think that it's a great idea to, if it's a brand new account, thus you're assuming it's a brand new player, you know, make it so that when you get a character to level 80, that's when, so it unlocks it so you can do it with an alt. Like you said, the shared inventory slot, you need alts to use that anyway, you know? So I totally agree with that.
I think it's aimed at. So here's the thing: we know from the conference call or the quarterly report or whatever it was from NCSoft that the play for free retention or conversion into buying players was not what they expected. This is aimed a good deal at those people. I think it's also aimed at veteran MMO players in general. Maybe not of Guild Wars 2, but of MMOs in general who sort of understand and grasp the general concepts of MMOs to simply jump in and want to play with your friends instantly. The Heart of Thorns content, the endgame content. I do understand what you're saying. I don't disagree that they're going to miss out on a ton of lore, story, world, even some learning of the class in some regards, depending on your general skill level and how quickly you pick a class up to begin with. But this is definitely, I think, a sales conversion technique that they're trying to use. And you know, the general idea is you play for free, you download the game, you test it a little bit. Oh, I really like this game. Okay, I'm willing to spend X amount of dollars to buy Heart of Thorns, and now I get my free level 80. I can go play Heart of Thorns content right away. It is true that you're going to miss a lot of that stuff, but because you have a shared inventory slot, this sort of nudges you into the idea of making a second character anyway, which is now not going to be level 80 right away. And so you're going to have to play through some of that content on that character. Even though I think the core game in general is very much skippable or easily leapable in many ways because of how many tomes of knowledge you get, how many writs of experience you get. You just level up so quickly in Guild Wars 2, kind of to begin with. And that doesn't diminish, like you said, you're not going to really get the exploration or the story or whatever. I think players will go back and experience that. They just won't experience it sort of the first time through, which could be sort of a crime. But this is really to just get players into Heart of Thorns and to experience what that has to offer. Populate those maps with more players right away.
I get that. I just don't see the point. I can't imagine anywhere being like, oh, I've never played Guild Wars 2, but I just really want to get to that Heart of Thorns content. Like, who's saying that? Like, I just don't. It's you know, 4 maps, and all wrapped into the maps are these events tied to the story that they don't know anything about. Like, I don't think anyone's really gonna do that. They want to be max level because they think like every other MMO, the game starts at max level. That's the end game. That's the main point and focus of the game. It's not what Guild Wars 2 is about at all. It's never been like that for Guild Wars 2.
I think the
The
game
whole
is shifting,
adventure,
though.
the whole thing. Yeah, fine. And if we were 1 or 2, 3 more expansions down the line, I could understand. Like in WoW, fine, have an instant level 100 because there's friggin' 100 levels of content. It's too much for new players. But level 80, we're 1 expansion in, and it just seems pointless. You level up so fast.
Yeah.
And the story starts a friggin' day after season 2, which half of these people will never play. It just seems pointless. Like let's get straight into that Heart of Thorns content.
Well, you have
It's-
another problem with
why?
with
Like-
Living World Season 2. Those players,
They
don't
won't have
get that, do
experienced
they?
that, will they?
Yeah, fine.
No.
People want to jump straight into raids, but like that's not.
You
Like,
can't jump straight into
It's
raids
against
anyway.
like
yeah.
Yeah. If you jump
It's
straight into raids, you're going to have a bad time.
and it's against the whole vision of Guild Wars 2, I think, as well. It's never been this kind of like WoW is like this focus on raids, right? Like that's why people do it, to do raids. Like when half of the friggin' population of Guild Wars 2 doesn't even do raids anyway, it seems strange for them to add this free pass for new players who've never friggin' played a class to jump straight in. It just seems really weird. I just don't get it. Like, I'm cool with the idea. I don't mind it, right? It's useful for me personally because I can just make a character whenever I want and instantly get it. And I think that's cool. But, like, just to give it to someone? Like, we, 3 years ago, never had that option. We never had the option to friggin' start the game brand new and instantly shoot right up. You know, it just... And it was fine for us to level slowly through the maps, you know? Like, why do new players need it now? Like,
I think it's
so. I just don't get it.
I think it's marketing. I think it's marketing, sales, plain and simple.
Yeah.
It's 100% marketing.
It's also to convert players.
I don't think it's gonna work for conversions either. I really don't. I don't think it's a bad thing.
I don't know. It depends. I think I guess it depends what kind of person or player you are. I know that if I'm playing an older MMO, we can use WoW even though it has 10 plus years, 13 billion years worth of content. I don't want to start anything other than close to max level. Like, if everybody starting the next expansion is level 100, I want to be level 100 when the expansion starts. I don't want to be level 80 or 90 and grind for 20 levels. Screw that noise. Even if you take a younger game, and I know Blade and Soul doesn't work this way, but let's say a year from now Blade and Soul releases, like, Blade and Soul expansion Journey to Pandaland, whatever. And everybody is level 60. I don't know what level you even get to in Blade and Soul, but everybody's level 60. I don't want to start at 1. I want to be there with my friends when the expansion launches, playing with them.
I get
that. And that's just me. I understand that's not for everybody, and I understand that does diminish and kill some of the exploration, which I absolutely love about Guild Wars 2. But it's the first expansion. It's been out for, like 8 months. It's not like there's that need for that big rush, and it's not like the level cap's gonna go up. So that, I don't know. It's just I don't. Yeah, people are saying they want to play with their friends, right? But like, Guild Wars 2 works in a way you can go back to other zones and still have fun and play the content, still get rewards for it. You can.
So why do we need to make the new player skip that stuff? When
I think
I don't know.
I think like
weird, man. It doesn't fit Guild Wars. It was so strange to see. It's cool for players who are veterans, but for new players to just basically skip the entire game so you can get to these 4 zones at the end, it just felt so out of place. Give it to us who have already leveled. Give it to us as a gem store thing. Like,
no, God, no. That would have been horrible.
Hey, come on, man. I know you feel
the exact same,
but it's not.
I don't know, man.
What if they had given this item to a new player, new account, who got a character to like level 20 or 30? So they've experienced some of it, but they don't have to grind for however long to get to 80 to be with their friends. If that's what their friends are saying, buy Heart of Thorns, play Dragon Stand with us, it's so amazing. They can, it takes them maybe a day or two to get to 30, and then they can instant to 80, and they've experienced the game and the systems in it and the basic controls and the community, and then they bump up rather than. I see the problem you're saying with instantly.
I think what stings most about this, I think, for me, is like when I first started, I'm one of the people, I get lazy and bored and kind of impatient. And like, if I was thrown in with this option, like, I wouldn't have wanted to use an instant level 80 because I want to experience it properly and learn everything. But having that friggin' thing in the back of my head, knowing that that's there, and I just click twice and I skip all this work I have to do, like, I would have just friggin' caved in. I think I would have got to like level 14, then just given up and just done this. I'll see what this is. And they've always preached this idea of the adventure being the game, like that kind of progression, exploration. Yeah, you can go back to older zones, but like your first dungeon, you want to be level 80 to do your like AC. Like, it's super hard when you do it for the first time, and to just like be able to walk in straight up level 80, just with your full exotic gear and a build you didn't even think about, and it's just been applied to you. Like, I just think it's a horrible thing to see a game you love with all this content you love, and you want people to experience it, and they go in and they just get handed this free skip everything button. You know, I just think
No,
that
I can
sucks.
see
It's
see
just
your
a
point there.
shame. I don't know, and I agree it should be in the game as an option for people who have already seen that and know their stuff. Like, but it just sucks that people can literally, spend 10 minutes in the game and have something max level, and they're in the silver wastes. Where the hell's the silver waste? People talking about this dragon in the jungle, and like, it just, I don't know, man. I wouldn't enjoy it, but that temptation thing's there, and this kind of pressure is there, and I think they're trying to do it for conversions. Like, no, market your game better. Like, don't give people a way to skip the entirety main bulk of content in your game. That's stupid. Like, make that expansion sound cool, and no one's saying, like, no one wants to jump into straight the Heart of Thorns content at this point because it's just barely there anyway. And these fixes in this patch have been great, but it needs a lot more stuff there before it becomes... It just wasn't necessary. It just wasn't necessary, and it's a really cheap move that kind of goes against the idea behind the existence of the entire game, in my opinion, and I think it's a real shame. But
Well, you've convinced me, mate. Team Corvus.
It's just my view.
Team Corvus.
Hashtag Team Corvus.
Hashtag
I don't know.
Schlongbow.
Sorry, I'm just...
No, it's good.
I've not had a rant in a while.
Show us
It's
your
good.
passion. We want to see your
Feel the
passion.
passion. Let it flow through you, brother. Right, there's people at my door. I think I have to go.
Oh, no. Sorry.
Okay. Keep going. Okay, bye.
Say, Corvus is wrong! Corvus is wrong! Corvus is wrong!
Get out of here, Schlongbow.
See you next time, guys.
Take care.
Oh!
Alright, I'll see you next week, guys. Take care.
Later.
Take care. Oh my goodness.
Too funny. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on, what kind of player and stuff you are, whether or not this bugs you. Is it out of context? Yeah, I agree with you. I think it is a bit out of context for Guild Wars 2. I think it's totally a sales conversion technique, a way to get those play-for-free players to buy Heart of Thorns and experience Heart of Thorns right away, rather than continue to go through maps and hearts and events and stuff. And some of that content really shines, but people are impatient. Or some people are impatient, anyway.
Yeah. Well.
I know for myself, and I realize not everybody is like this, like I've been saying, but I know for myself, if I enter a game that is not freshly launched, yeah, I just want to log in and play with my friends. I don't care about the other content. I'll go back and look at and do eventually on my own. But I want to get in and play the new content right away. I don't want to, level to 100 and WoW to experience Legion, for example.
Right.
Because I really don't care and don't want to do that. But that's just
fair
me.
enough.
And I do have to say that it as good as they could have the best marketing in the world. It's a 3-year-old game, and I would say that the vast majority of new players joining the game at this point is going to be because their friends or their favorite streamer, their favorite YouTuber, is playing the game and they want to check it out because they're playing it. And if you have to start from square one, if you give people that easy button, it's just, I think that they'll have a better chance of more people purchasing the expansion, which is it's sales, plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
I do really agree with almost everything you're saying, Corvus. It's no one's gonna force people to use it. If you're the kind of player who is gonna take that easy road to max level, good on you. Would they have really enjoyed the leveling process anyway? If
I don't know.
I know, but I know what you're saying. Anyway.
I kind of feel both sides. It's just overall, I think it's just...
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I do.
Absolutely. Like, if people are not familiar with MMOs, It'll be confusing for sure. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that you'll be confused if you've never played an MMO and you're just like, I'm instant 80.
Oh, heck.
Oh, hooray.
I have first-hand experience with this. That my first exposure to the Guild Wars universe was the Factions beta, and they threw you into Kynig City at max level, all your skills unlocked. And it was my first exposure to an MMO, and I was so overwhelmed that I didn't look back at Guild Wars until Nightfall came out, because I saw my friends playing it. Then I got all 3 expansions, or all 3 games all at once, and there was no instant max level, though max level was 20. And I started from the beginning and played it and just had an absolute blast, and here I am today. So I absolutely had that experience of being overwhelmed. But if you get this 80 item, you've already given ArenaNet your money. So they're happy.
So buy Heart of Thorns today.
Buy Heart of Thorns and use the referral link down below.
Right now. Better yet, use my play for free link and then buy Heart of Thorns.
Yes.
The fun. So terrible.
Oh my god. All right, so let's touch briefly on the Sentinel outfit, if you got anything to say about that, and the spectral weapons. And anything else that you might...
Oh, those
you might have missed.
weapons are so cool. Those are good weapons. The spectral
I
ones.
instantly thought of you.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
these are-
blue and necromancy. It's perfect for me. Best designs I've seen in a long
That
time.
Warhorn, though, creeps me out just a
Oh,
little
It's
bit.
so
my
cool.
God. The
Creeping me
Warhorn
out.
and the Scepter are so out of the box. I was just blown away. I was blown away. It was, no pun intended, Warhorn. But they were good. They're
I don't know what it is.
good.
I don't know. I guess it's the little snake heads or the little skulls or whatever they are. I don't know what it is. Just the way they wiggle, it just creeps me the hell out. I'm just like,
I think it's amazing. The greatsword skin as well looks so good on my necromancer. I need to pick that up.
It
The focus
is.
as well. It's cool.
It's a really great set for Necros, I think. Just in general, if you're buying that Sentinel outfit, and I think most people who watch the show regularly know I am not a big outfit fan. I think it even goes really well with the outfit in general. The outfit has a fire theme. The weapon set sort of has a fire theme that sort of goes with it. You can match the fires because you can dye the outfits.
That's
Yeah, it's a good looking set.
I have very little interest in the outfit. Like, I'll give you that it looks cool, but it looks too similar to other, like, outfit armor set type outfits.
Mm-hmm.
If the fire
wish
wasn't there,
it was-
I would have been like,
I wish it was a real armor set.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Peachy. Like, if the fire wasn't there, it really would
it
just
would
be
have just been kind of
bland
blah.
as hell. And seeing that default green fire reminded me of WoW quite a lot. I don't know, I had that kind of WoW vibe to it.
Yeah, it's a very wowish set with birds and stuff on the helmet and
Yeah,
shoulders.
what are the I don't understand the birds. Sentinel?
Bird Knight.
What am I
don't know.
missing? I don't know where I'm like, why are the birds? I don't understand the birds and the fire. The fire is cool, but why fire? I don't quite understand the outfit.
I don't know.
For some reason it doesn't compute with me. But it's not a fluffy dress, so of course it wouldn't compute
I
with me,
was
so.
I was really tempted to buy the outfit. I almost did, but at the end of the day, it's an outfit. I'll wear it for I know me. I'll wear it for 2 weeks, and then I'll be back to whatever armor set I cobbled together because I like cobbling together armor sets.
The best thing about outfits was being able to wear them on your low level characters, while
Sure.
you were leveling. That was cool back when leveling was a thing in Guild Wars 2. Before this instant level 80 thing happened, and no one has to. I'm gonna get to that.
Unless they're an altaholic. Problem solved.
Yeah. I don't know.
You should
I'm
be
not
an
a big fan of
alcoholic.
outfits. And this one just felt a bit too generic, I guess.
I love outfits. Love them. Fashion Wars. Love them. Do I want more armor sets? Of course. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
110%. But I also love outfits. So. Yeah. Some salty on the GuildGab. No, it's not salt. It was an honest opinion rant. We had a Corvus rant. It wasn't salt.
It's like the first time I've ever been
little bit
salty
of salt.
about anything. Well,
Little
like
bit.
properly ranty in a long time.
It was.
I mean, feel
love
free
that
to watch
passion,
all the
Corvus.
episodes.
We're at 79. Episode 79.
It's crazy.
Can you believe that?
Craziness.
It's craziness. Oh my god.
Amazingness.
All right. We are going to end the show there. We'll have a brief post show with you guys. And
Yeah, I need to.
if you are
Sorry.
watching, Corvus needs to refuel. You need to refuel his salt.
I'm
after
going
all that.
crazy, dude. I wasted all my energy on that rant.
If you guys are watching on Twitch, please stay tuned for the post show. If you're watching on YouTube, scroll down into the description and follow us on all of the places: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, for more Guild Wars 2 content. And we will see you guys next Friday. Take care.